I want to do a quick review on adding and subtracting fractions. Now this goes all the way back to about like maybe 4th and 5th grade, okay? But people still struggle with this, especially if they haven't seen it a lot in middle school or high school, okay? If we want to add two fractions, if they do not have the same denominator, they must be converted into something else, something that has a common denominator, okay? And the way that we do that is we change the form of the fraction so that it has typically a larger denominator than what it has. So for example, we know that 2/7 is the same thing as 4/14. We're just multiplying 2 times 2 to get 4 and 7 times 2 to get 14. 2/7 is also the same thing as we multiply by 3, and 3 is 6/21. If we multiply by 4, it's also the same thing as 8/28. So all we're doing is changing our fractions into a different form by some kind of multiplier in the numerator, same numerator-denominator multiplier, so that we get the same number but in a different form. So what we want is here, we want this denominator, we want this to be in a form that has a denominator that is equal to the denominator over here in a different form. And here's how we basically do it, okay? To add these two fractions, this is the one we're going to change, but we're going to change it based on that denominator. Take that denominator and multiply it by this number and by this number. So 5 times 2, 5 times 7. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 7 is 35. Okay? Plus. Now we're going to do the same thing to this fraction with that denominator. We're going to take this denominator, multiply it by the numerator, then multiply it by the denominator. So 7 times 8, that's 56. 7 times 5, that's 35. And see, now we have a common denominator. And to add them, we just bring over the denominator. That 35 is going to be in the answer. And now we add the numerators. 10 plus 56 is 66. And so 2/7 plus 8/5 is equal to 66/35. Now, if you have one of these scientific calculators, it can actually do this for you. If you have one of these calculators, you're going to use this button right here. I call it the slash button. It's in the 3rd row, 2nd column. It's next to the LN button. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in 2/7 plus 8/5. And what it's ultimately going to give me is a mixed number, 1 and 31/35. But I don't want it as a mixed number, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the 2nd button and the slash button one more time and press enter, and now it gives me 66/35. So these calculators can help you to add your fractions for you. Let's try another example. Let's do this one, 5/11 minus 1/4. It's the same thing with subtraction. So this 5/11 needs to be multiplied by this 4. 4 times the 5 and then 4 times the 11. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 11 is 44. Minus. Now we need to multiply this numerator and this denominator by the other denominator. 11 times 1 is 11. 11 times 4 is 44. And now the denominator is 44. 20 minus 11 is 9. And we get 9/44. And then another great thing, if you were to use the scientific calculator to do this for you, is it'll also reduce the fraction if it's reducible. So if I do 5/11 minus 1/4, enter, and I get 9/44, and that's reduced. And that's basically just a review on adding and subtracting fractions.